everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was there any discussion on the agenda? Could I have a motion to accept the agenda for the regular meeting?
So moved.
Dr. Turner, can we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Kilgore? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Dr. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Carter.
Yes.
All right, can I have a motion to accept the minutes for the regular meeting?
So moved.
Dr. Turner, do we have a second? Mr. Carter, any discussion of the minutes?
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Dr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, do we have any input for the Mount Healthy Teachers Association? Nothing. Thank you. Do we have any special orders or, communications?
No.
Any announcements? No? I think we do have some recognitions though, is that right?
Right. So, which one you want to start with? Okay. So we have a video that we want to show you. This aired this morning and this afternoon. And I said earlier, I think it's the best one I've ever seen. So we're really excited to share this with you tonight.
Educator of the Week, sponsored by the Ohio Education Association.
We are taking you to Mount Healthy Junior High School today for our latest Educator of the Week. It's where one teacher is making an impact with their innovative approach and warm personality.
We are going to start off with a Steve Hartman this morning.
All good teachers have a vision.
And what I want you to think about when we're watching this video is, what worthy award would you give the woman in the video? Her name is Mama Shu. What worthy award would you give her?
A vision for the future.
You can have like 4 pipe cleaners. That's fine.
And at Mount Healthy Junior High School, Christina Lanning helps guide her students on a path for what lies ahead.
I want them to be successful in my class, but also this is a career tech class. So we're learning all about just pathways to success with different kinds of careers. So we're doing STEM careers, engineering design, medical detectives, and then we'll be doing flight and space. So I just want them to have a vision for where they could go, what they could do, and just kind of to see what their gifts and skills are.
She gives her class a hands-on, immersive experience day in and day out, which is why we are paying her a special visit. Excuse me.
Yes?
Mrs. Lanning?
Yes.
My name's Adam Clements. I'm with Local 12 News. Is it okay if I give your class a pop quiz really quickly?
Yes.
Show of hands. Who can tell me who our Local 12 Educator of the Week is? Raise your hand. Me? No, not me. Miss Lanning! Educator of the Week!
I love colleagues and admin here.
And because she takes the time to make sure every student gets it, Mrs. Lanning is loved right back.
She's patient. She will take her time with you. She will sit there with you and communicate and help you understand what you're doing. And that's what got me so good at getting into technology.
She is very, very intelligent, and she fits the role as a teacher very well. I feel like she's very helpful, like when a student asks a question, like she gives them a correct answer.
So she deserves this award?
Yeah, I feel like she does.
How good does it feel to know that you are appreciated?
It feels really good. I still am like, what? But it feels really good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And remember, you can nominate our next Educator of the Week. Just scan the QR code you see on...
We have Miss Lanning here with us tonight, and we want to make sure we get a picture with the Board of Education. But Miss Lanning, would you like to say anything?
I just wanted to thank all of you for your service to our community freedom program to be at the school. I'm blessed just to be able to be here, and thank you for your support.
Well, thank you. Bryce, we want to get the board, if you guys all want to stand up and let's get a picture of Miss Lanning with the board. We appreciate her coming tonight. Why don't you can just stand right in front of them.
Go spot 4. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you again for coming tonight. Congratulations.
All right, so before we begin, we got 2 more recognitions tonight. We got 2 teachers in the back, but I got to tell you a little story about Mrs. Lanning. And one of the first times I met her, we did medical detectives. If you've ever seen her medical detectives, have you guys heard of this one? Okay, put some stories on this. She has the students act like they're the doctors, and you come in. She asks staff to come in and act like they have an illness. You get it ahead of time. You get a script of who you are, where you've been. I had traveled internationally. I can't remember where I was. And I went in there. I was running a little bit behind that day, so I actually had sprinted up the stairs, and I got in there. And the kids are going over it, and they were asking me questions, and they put on to check my blood pressure. My blood pressure was really high. So the kids are like, is this part of it? And I'm like, no, this is not. This is not. So I actually scheduled with my doctor. Everything's good. But the kids, I mean, if you watch this in class, they love her. They adore her. And it's not, it's respect. And we talk about Worthy and what she does in the classroom. And I've been privileged to see it twice now. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's an immersive experience. It's not, this is us talking about a disease. These are things that she's doing that makes it seem like it's real life for the kids. It gets them interested. It gets them engaged. And you walk into that classroom, and it's like, I'd love my kid to be in that classroom every day. It's so much fun. So she's wonderful, a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to honor you tonight. So we'll give one more round of applause. Yeah, I did try to memorize my script. I did my best. All right, so the next one we have is Ms. Picard. If you want to come on up here. We'll have you built up. So these 2 ladies here, I was trying to think of the best way to describe these 2, and I think the best thing I can put at it is that they are warriors for our district. They fight for our kids. They don't run away from challenges. If you ask them for something or need something, they're already doing it. And we're going to start with Ms. Picard because it cracks me up. I'm terrible at secrets, so I already told her I have nominated her for a couple things. And I have to put down, what are some activities she's involved with? Well, I wasn't even halfway through, and I'm like, well, she's involved with National Honor Society, and she does the Mental Health Council, and she helps out with Gear Up. And I'm getting through, and I ran out of characters, and I was only halfway through the things that she does. And I about just erased it all and said, it's not what she does do, it's what she doesn't do, which is like next to nothing. So she does everything for the district. She's involved in everything. She helped coordinate with me. We worked with the Business Association, and got some scholarships for those kids. And it wasn't because they just wanted to give to National Honor Society kids. These kids were out in the community. They helped out in Christmas and Mount Healthy. They were helping out with the Alumni Association. They helped with some cleanup in the community, all organized by this lady here. She's awesome. I'm going to give her the moment to speak, but incredible.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I will tell you a little bit about me, and then I will get to the kids, which is why I'm here. So I moved here from North Carolina about 4 years ago. I graduated from a women's college, and I just completed my MED from Miami in curriculum and instruction. The focus was in DEI, which was really wonderful. This is my 3rd year at Mount Healthy. I teach high school social studies, and like Bryce said, I do a couple other things. National Honor Society is definitely one of my favorite parts about the job. I work really close with the 21st Century Grant and after school programming and summer programming. I've gotten the pleasure to work with the LPDC committee. I sponsor the senior class. I try to stay busy. But I do just want to take a moment and highlight the kids because as much as I appreciate Bryce saying that it was me, I feel like I just kind of gave them a platform, and watching them grow was really awesome. So when I took on NHS 3 years ago, I sent out we're going to have our first meeting, and 3 students walked into my room. And I was like, oh my goodness, we are going to grow this exponentially. And this year, I believe we are at 39 active members. And that is to keep in mind that it is only open to juniors and seniors. So that is huge. We're started partnering this year with Beta Club for 9 and 10 to sort of help get the students ready for it. So we're doing more projects together. But watching these students grow has just been amazing. One of the things we do twice a month, we go over to Christian Village and we host bingo nights. They're at 3 p.m., but they're bingo nights. And I remember the first one, we're like walking over and talking about it, and the students are so nervous. And I'm going to tell this narrative a couple times, but they're so nervous. And they're like, well, what do we do? How do I talk to people? What if they ask me a question? Am I going to have to speak out loud? And by the time that we left, they were like, what if we made a sign-up sheet for who got to call out numbers and what roles we had, because I want to do this and I want to do this. They're joking with the residents. They're excited to come back, and going into year 3 of that is wonderful, watching the students get to connect with the community that way. We partner with a local grassroots organization that actually founded themselves, the Forest Wetland Park Group. They're amazing. And we go out there and the kids get to learn about invasive species and remove them, so we're able to kind of tie in that science part. A lot of students really like that. The first year we were here, the students expressed interest in mental health support, so we were able to host a sort of breakfast. We worked with Gear Up on that, and I'm very happy to say that this year we're actually doing that on a monthly basis. So once a month, students are invited, staff can nominate them, support staff in the building can nominate them, and we all get together, and over breakfast we do different activities. One of the things we did recently was connected them with mental health professionals that are in the building. A lot of times being able to just be the vehicle to introduce the students to those resources was amazing. We participate in like actual wellness activities together, and that has been really great. Every Tuesday they have the opportunity to work with Cocoon Farms. And then on alternating Tuesdays, they actually come here and help with the clothes pantry and distribution. They help make sure that our Hubbard's Cupboard area is stocked with clothes and resources for students and staff on campus that may need it. And I think we are hosting our first blood drive this year, which I will let Ms. Hall get into a little bit, but that is the first one we've done in a very long time. We were a little nervous about sign-ups, and we actually had to call in another phlebotomist because so many kids signed up for it. So. We have helped out with a mock election. That was really wonderful. I was able to take the kids to the Red Stadium for volunteer hours, and once they completed some of those, it actually led to job opportunities. So I have some students that are currently getting paid as a result of the volunteer work that they did. And there was one more I wanted to add on here. Well, there was one more, but they do a lot of stuff, and I just have to highlight them because I almost feel like I can't keep up with the kids at this point. I do what I can, but it is really amazing to see when you offer our students opportunities how much they strive to like take it, and they want to do it, and then they want to increase it. I got to take a group of our officers and a few members to an urban leadership conference at Xavier, and they did breakout rooms where every leader talked about what they did for the community and ways to get involved in the community. And the entire bus ride back, they were like, how can we bring this to campus? And that is how we ended up with the mock election. We actually brought back the former NHS president to help us do a voter registration drive, and we registered more seniors to vote this year than ever before. So it's just an important reminder that when we give our kids opportunities, they really do what they can with them. It is an absolute joy to watch them grow and to go from being so nervous and I don't know what I'm going to do or how this is going to work. And then by the time that it's over, I'm like, I don't know what to do or how this is going to work because you guys just keep doubling and doubling everything that I give you. So I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you for your kind words. I absolutely love this district and I adore all of our students. This year, like I said, I feel like I can't keep up with them, and Ms. Hall has just been essential in making sure that we can do some of the things that we want to do. So I will pass this over to her, if that's.
So next up, we have Ms. Hall. I just want to share really quickly that when I started teaching, one of the first things that my mentor teacher told me was, how do the students feel when they're around you? And you can get a lot of things wrong, but how do they feel when you're in the classroom? Are they excited? Are they happy? Do they feel cared about? And you know, something I took with me a lot in life. How do people feel when I walk into the room? Do they see a smile? Is it positive? And I had to tell you, we've had a lot of meetings together. And I can tell you, when I'm around her, I just love hearing her voice. It's calming. It's all kindness. And you want to talk about an educator that, and I was going to say, put students first. She puts people first all the time. And she cares about other people. She loves on other people. And she is, once again, a warrior for our kids. And can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And I've gotten to see it, and it's awesome. So I'm going to give the mic over. And I couldn't do you justice tonight on this, but it's all you.
All right. Thank you. I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity and platform to come and speak this evening. I've been with the district since '99. I actually student taught with Miami. We were one of the first cohorts to come back and when we were going to all-day kindergarten. So that's how long I've been with the district. And I actually got my job, one of the little boys that I had in kindergarten, he was kind of a kid that everybody's like, I don't know. But when I had my interview, I'm like, I want that kid. If I get this position as a first grade teacher, can I please have this child? I feel like I've made a start with him, and I want to continue our progress. So I actually owe Mount Healthy a lot to my personal life too, because through Mount Healthy is how I met my husband. He was a firefighter for Mount Healthy for many years. He was firefighter Phil, and he would come into the classrooms and do the firefighting program with the students. And that's how we met. He came into my first grade classroom, and I kind of teased. Mr. Burdette teased me a lot. Back in those early Rex Ralph days, he never left. He just kept showing up every day, it seemed like. So I said, well, if you're going to be here, you're going to start helping me. You're going to mentor these kids. And he did with open arms. He's like, okay, let's do this. So he started mentoring a couple of my boys. And you can say the rest is history. We got married the next summer, went off to have 4 beautiful children. Norman Rockwell, perfect lifestyle, or so I thought. Last year, I noticed my husband started to struggle a little bit. And through my training, through Mount Healthy, working with special needs students and students who have health issues of their own, mental health issues of their own, I started to recognize some of the signals and signs. And myself and my second oldest son, who's graduating in May from Miami with his degree in psychology, we both tried to talk to him and encourage him to go seek help. But he didn't want to hear it. So for the next few months, it was a struggle. I couldn't change my husband's narrative, and I couldn't change him or force him to get the help. But I could advocate for my own personal children and myself, and we started getting help for what we were dealing with and what was going on in the family. Sadly, 4 months to today, my husband's demons caught up to him, and he took his own life. And we have been reeling, the kids and I, through what do we do next? And at his memorial service, the outpouring from staff members, and Dr. Wilson especially, was just tremendous. And Dr. Wilson and I have talked several times about different struggles, and she was so wonderful, because I told her, I said, I cannot relish in this despair that we continually feel every day, and this missing of my wonderful husband. And we have to make good with what we've learned. And we were able to donate 4 of his organs, and through the donation of his organs, I didn't realize how much blood is needed to keep someone alive until they can harvest the organs. So talking to Dr. Wilson, I told her, I said, if I can have a platform, if there's anything more I could do for my students to help them, if they're struggling, I will talk to them, I will be there, I will be a support system. And I was telling her about how we were wanting to advocate for blood donation, and she paired me up with Ms. Picard, and she said, you need to get with the National Honor Society. They are starting to look into this as well. So through meeting with Miranda and our National Honor kids, as she said, they are tremendous, and they are eager, and they want to help. And through our mental health advisory panels, they will come up to you and share stories and just want to talk to you. And they need somebody. They just need somebody to listen and to hear that their voice is heard and that their voice matters. And they need to know that we care, and we're going to do what we can to support them through these journeys, because no one should suffer in silence or suffer alone. Miranda and I, and the National Honor Society, the kids have taken this on. When we contacted Hawksworth, when we partnered up with them, I look back, it's been a 5-year absence, which I was surprised because I don't remember us having one, but when I looked at the dates, it looks like it's been a 5-year absence since we've had a blood donation drive. We set a small goal. We're like, because looking at our previous numbers, they weren't that great. So we're like, well, we'll go in, we'll try to get 42, I think is what our initial number was. But on Friday, we got a call saying that we had surpassed that. We'd already tied it, and he was bringing in another, you said the word better than me, thank you, specialist to take, to open up 20 more appointments. So as of right now, we have 9 spots available. So any board member who wants to come, we would love to see you Wednesday. And our goal is to get 150 donations by the end of the year. And another way that the community can help, we're going to organize more of these, since we've had such an overwhelming response of the kids wanting to be life heroes. We have decided that we're going to try to do this once a quarter, maybe a little bit more if we can. We're going to do a mix of in the building and have the van come, because if the van comes, they can do it later in the evening, that we can get the community members involved. But community members don't have to wait for our donations. They can go to any Hawksworth Blood Center and give the code MNU, and we will get credit for their donation. So if we meet our goal of 150, the National Honor Society will get a $1,000 grant that we can use to further our other projects. So we really encourage everybody to come out, support the kids, but more importantly, support the community as a whole and give the life-giving donation of blood. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you both.
Can I ask, is that this Wednesday?
There will be plenty more. And we will have Mr. Burdett send out another robocall for us. Because, yeah, but we will. And then, do we have it on any of the websites? Do we have it on any of the platforms where we can sign up? Yeah. Ms. Turner, you can email me, anybody can email me directly, and we can, or Ms. Picard, and we can schedule you. There are some there are 9 times available that we can put you in.
I'm actually, I didn't know anything about this. I'm actually scheduled to donate blood on Wednesday.
Okay.
And I have to change that because I had surgery a week and a half ago.
Gotcha.
And I'm on blood thinners, and I
cancel,
have to reschedule it. So
Well, when you reschedule, just give them the code MNU, and we will get
I
credit
wrote
for
it down.
that. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Once we get a picture with the board. Yeah. If you guys want to stand up again, we'll have them come around and we'll get a picture with the board. So our next recognition, we're going to start with a short video for your enjoyment. We have a special retirement tonight. Pam Laumer is with us. If you want to wave, I'm sure probably everyone knows Pam. But we have Michael condense the video just so you're all aware. We're going to show that and then recognize Pam for all of her years of service to Mount Healthy.
This was a time, this was a dance. She lived every moment, left nothing to chance. She swam in the sea, drank of the deep, embraced the mystery of all she could be. What if tomorrow
It's been a while that we got to work together, but it was definitely a pleasure. You were here when I got here in 2001 in food service, and you opened your arms to me, and you were very willing to always help me get used to my job.
My world's on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it and I'll never get bored. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get the show on, get paid.
I remember the day that you walked into New B and you took my place. You did a great job. Enjoy retirement. I'm envious.
You have served Mount Healthy Schools so very well, and I'm sure the people at New Burlington Elementary as well as Mount Healthy North Elementary will really miss you. I appreciated our opportunity to be able to work together at New Burlington and how well you served the office, me, the staff as a whole, the students and the parents, making everybody feel comfortable and welcome at New Burlington. Have a great retirement.
So deserved. I just think back to the times that we worked together, going from 5 elementaries to 2 elementaries and the transition that had to be done. You working with Rosemary in the office, you working so well with everyone, and you keeping me organized, on task, and it was just such a pleasure. You were a tremendous administrative assistant, and I'm sure they're going to miss you terribly. You meant so much to me when I was principal at North, looking at who was absent as early as 6 o'clock in the morning and you and I talking and trying to strategize things, working with parents, working with family, staff. I just valued the relationship I had with you so much. So I wish you all the best, Pam Laumer. Love you. Bye.
Hi, Pam. Congratulations on your retirement. You know I'm eating my heart out. The thing I remember the most about you is the time when we opened up this building at North. We spent the summer together in the library at New Burlington and preparing to move and packing, and then we opened up our building. You and Rosemary were the model of efficiency, and you were the one who, with Rosemary, brought this building together and helped it run smoothly from day one. You came with the bricks, and we wanted to keep you till the bricks came down, but we know you got to go. So have a great retirement. We love you.
I'm hopeful that your retirement will be peaceful, and filled with all the friends and family and fun things that you like to do, and completely empty of all dismissal and radio calls and phone calls and late students and all of those things.
I have to say, you were the glue that held that place together.
I hope you decide to come back and substitute for us. You will be greatly missed, and have a great retirement.
You have been so amazing to all your students, staff, everybody in the building. I just remember anytime I needed help from you, you were always there.
You've always just been amazingly helpful and great. So happy retirement. You will be missed.
But over the years, we have just, you, me, and Rosemary, we just have bonded. And we stayed bonded, and we've helped each other out over the years, and you've been right in my corner. I hope I've been in your corner when you've needed me. Enjoy retirement.
Congratulations, Ms. Laumer. You've reached the pinnacle that most of us only aspire to reach. I want to thank you for all the things you've done for me during our time at North. It was my pleasure to work alongside of you. And thank you for all the things you've done for all the students and staff at Mount Healthy City Schools.
Miss Lammers, happy retirement! Congratulations on your newfound downtime and relaxation time. I wish you nothing but the best, and I wanted just to say thank you for everything that you have done for Mount Healthy City Schools and also my time there as principal. You are truly amazing at what you do, and we can't thank you enough for all of your time and effort that you have put forth.
Thank you for your years of service on the front lines of the main office. Woo.
Thank you so much for serving the community of Mount Healthy, and especially during my years of leadership there at Mount Healthy North. I will always remember those years very fondly, and you have a large part to play in that. So I hope you enjoy every moment of retirement, every day that you are able to sleep in, every time you can go on vacation outside of June, July, and August.
Is it worth it? Oh yeah, it's worth it. If you're strong enough.
Congratulations, Pam. You know I'll miss you tremendously. Congratulations on the next chapter of your life, and you know I'll be calling you throughout the year and the summer, and just have a great retirement.
Pam, you were the first face I saw when I came to North, and you have been my go-to person ever since. Probably my most memorable moment with you was when Cassidy Wadkey and Victoria Gray threw away a lot of your supplies and you nearly spiraled out of control. I tried to stop them. They wouldn't listen to me. I just wanted you to know that. It was them.
Hi, Pam. It has been my absolute pleasure working with you the last 3 years. I'm not going to be able to get through this. You have been amazing. You are my absolute right hand. You finish my sentences, and you just know everything that I need to get the job done. I wish you nothing but the best in your next journey. Please always keep in touch, and remember, you are always welcome here at North.
Boy, do we have some memories. Wait a minute, where are my glasses? Oh, they're on my head. Boy, that was a memory about the glasses. We have had so many memories, so many good times, so many laughs through the hard times. We've laughed through good times. And I really and truly hope that you enjoy your retirement because you deserve it. Love you, and you were a very good working partner. We couldn't have did it if we had not been on the same page, and we were. And we always will be. Love you, Pam.
Happy retirement. We'll miss you. Enjoy relaxing.
Hi. I got this mean guy here making me do this. You know I don't like to talk. But he called me up, and I thought, well, what am I going to say? Well, all I've got to say, after 49 years, I'm glad you're coming home. And I'll have you all to myself now. I love you.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye,
We want to thank Michael for putting this video together. It's actually much longer, but we had him condense it for the board meeting tonight. Pam, if you want to come up, I have a gift for you. I don't think, we could even count the number of students that you've impacted at North. And so many times when students come in, it's Pam's face that they see, and when she smiles at them, it makes a difference. When our parents come in and they see her smiling face, they know that everything's going to be okay. So Pam, you will be missed so much. We want to give you a token from Mount Healthy so that you remember us, and we wish you nothing but the best. You want here? We'll take it out if you want. 27 years.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the recognition and can't believe it's been 27 years. I have enjoyed working with everyone for the last 27 years. I miss the kids too, believe it or not. Some of them, you're like, but no, they were sweet. And I've got to tell you one thing. 6th grade gave me these cards that the teachers made them make. And the first one who brought it up to me, he kind of stuck his face up, so I gave him a kiss. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to do that with all of them. So each one of them gave me their card, and I gave them a kiss. And then they'd go up to the teacher and go, So I got every one of them. But that was great. I was loving that. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I'm going to miss people.
Let's give Pam a standing ovation. 27 years. Thank you, Pam. We appreciate you and the difference you've made for Mount Healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins, and thank you to all of the staff that was recognized tonight. I think, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that this has been a very difficult year, and sometimes it feels like it's never-ending chaos and frustration. But the meetings, when we get to come in here and hear more of these stories, I think for me personally, it reinvigorates that passion to continue to put in the time and the energy to keep trying to make it work and figure things out so that we can continue to have this community. Because as I say all of the time, I don't think that there is a better, stronger, more supportive and inspiring community than Mount Healthy. So thank you to everyone that was recognized tonight especially, and thank you to those who helped in recognizing them, because it's such an important moment that we get to have here at these meetings.
Well, I want my picture with Pam. Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Kim. How did we forget that? Pam, come on up.
Thank you for that reminder, Ms. Bryant. Okay, we do not have any public input. So let's move on to the Great Oaks report. As I said last month, I was not at the November Great Oaks meeting. It was my son's 21st birthday, but I do have the highlights from their minutes, so I can go over some of those very quickly.
Did you want to say this is a time where people can leave?
Yeah. Did I skip that? Oh, yes. For those members of the audience who do not wish to stay for the business portion of the meeting, now is the appropriate time for you to exit. Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. Okay, so at the November board meeting, for Great Oaks, the board voted to accept the 5-year financial forecast as approved by the Financial Investments Committee and presented by the treasurer at the public budget hearing held prior to the board meeting. Committee reviewed the documents and accompanying notes, all of which are posted in board docs. The forecast reflects the actual results for 2024 school fiscal year and projections for the upcoming 5 years. Mary Cleveland, who is the Great Oaks board chair and Princeton City Schools representative, was elected as the OSBA's president-elect on November 11th. The board approved a motion to approve a project for the Live Oaks Career Campus by the Building and Assets Committee. This project completes the updating of all of the outer building cover sections that were not part of the recent renovation project. And finally, applications for Great Oaks High School programs on all 4 campuses opened on November 15th. The deadline for consideration prior to the lottery drawing is February 4th. So that was the highlights from the November meeting. Mr. Carter, did you have your legislative liaison report?
I do.
really light, actually. So in terms of legislative, the two highlights were there was a transportation amendment. The proposed change was to revise procedures for declaring students impractical to transport, which really, doesn't affect our district. And then school closure amendments in Bill 295. And the proposed change there was it allows for the closure and reorganization of schools that were classified as poor performing for 3 consecutive years. So those were really the highlights, but it really didn't have any effect on our district. So that concludes my legislative report.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Now we are moving on to the report of the treasurer, and just in case anyone here has not had any updates, we have Mr. Johnson here with us as our interim treasurer. At the November meeting, as some of you saw, we had some conversations with our treasurers that were here about conflicts in some data, and we had asked them to basically resolve conflicts in data, and that did not get resolved. So the board did vote on some resolutions for the treasurer's office as a way to hopefully get some deadlines met and get some information on the work that was being done. And as a result of the resolutions that the board had approved at a special meeting, our team of treasurers from North Coast Shared Services decided to resign that day. So Mr. Johnson is actually our payroll specialist. He has been with the district already. He's very, very familiar with the treasurer's office. So we went ahead and he agreed to become our interim treasurer until we figure out a solution. We've been doing some treasurer interviews, so you will see some more changes happening, but I just wanted to give a very short explanation as to what the changes were and why Mr. Johnson is here with us today, and we appreciate you agreeing to take it on last minute and being here. So it is time for the treasurer's report. Did you have any updates for us?
Just what was sent in, like, with your packets on Friday, just asking for approval of, the cash summary, outstanding check report, bank reconciliation, all that was finished prior to today. So I was thankful for that. And then I'm not sure if the FRP workbook through November got sent, but we can get that sent over as well. That's completed through November in accordance with Dorothy. We'll speak to her again just to make sure that that's correct, but that's all I have at this time.
Did you want to, it looks like you have a couple of items on your report here, if I'm looking at it correctly. So item number 4A, the approval of the monthly financial reports. If you had anything to say about those or go over about those specifically, we could do that. And then we could go ahead and take a vote and a roll call on the financial reports.
Yeah, I had nothing specific to go over. Bank rec went smooth, surprisingly. So everything to my end looked as normal can look. So I have nothing specific to go into.
Okay. Could we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Was there any discussion on that? Okay, can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Carter?
Okay, and then item.
I wasn't sure. I didn't see it in the attachments.
Okay. Could we possibly amend the agenda? The workbook was sent, and it went through November. And we did try to call the state. Jake tried to call several times today and was not able to get it through to anyone. But it is complete through the end of November. So, right. But, I mean, the first couple weeks may not be in there, but maybe we could add it, make a motion to add the workbook or a separate vote on the workbook.
Okay, we can do that. Could I have a motion to add the workbook?
It's the FRP workbook, Financial Recovery Plan workbook.
It was sent to us, I think.
It was sent
But I
to
don't
everyone.
think it's in the agenda,
It's
is it?
just not on the agenda
Right.
with the
She
file
was looking for it in the
attachments.
agenda. I don't think it's in the agenda.
It should have been under file attachments on A.
Could we have a motion, though, to amend the agenda to include the fiscal plan workbook? Mr. Kilgore, do we have a second? Mr. Carter, was there any discussion on adding that to the agenda? Could we have a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner? Mr. Kilgore? Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Okay. Could we have a motion to approve the fiscal plan workbook?
So moved.
Yeah, the one we just added. Dr. Turner made the motion. Could we have a second? Ms. Bryant? Was there any discussion on the workbook itself? And as we said, that was sent to us in our email. It's just not attached. So I assume we've all at least had a chance to look over it. Was there any, did I already ask, was there any discussion on that? Sorry. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Okay. Now for item 4B, the approval request for tax advance. Did you want to discuss that, Mr. Johnson?
Did we vote on the report of the treasurer?
We did.
Okay. I missed it somehow.
Sorry.
I can give a little detail on that if you don't care, Jake. We always ask the auditor to go ahead and send the tax monies that we receive early so that we can go ahead and get that as soon as possible into our system. So that requires a vote.
Okay. Could we have a motion to make advance payments of taxes for the 2025 calendar year?
So moved.
Request.
To request
For
to make the
requesting
advance
No,
payments.
request they advance to
Yeah.
us.
I'll rephrase it just to make sure we have it. Could we have a motion to request that the county auditor give us advance payments for the 2025 year? Can we have a motion? Mr. Carter and Dr. Turner, was there any discussion on that? We have a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Okay.
Just go ahead and read.
Item 4C, contracts.
You just say that you want.
The Treasurer's Office would like to present the existing contracts in the agenda for approval.
Okay.
And as a note, on both of these are related to special education, and that's why we have the Ohio Revised Code listed here to show that these are required by law.
Okay. And then just to keep things consistent, even though we don't have a treasurer, Dr. Hawkins, is this spreadsheet done to the requirements of the commission? It looks to me like it is, but
I
have you
believe it is.
double checked everything? Okay. Could we have a motion? Yeah, well, yeah.
I did that. So thank you, Kim. Are you talking about the little squiggle?
Yeah.
Thank you. So the amount of the contract is $1,670. Inadvertently, an extra one was put in there.
Okay.
So I went and just made that adjustment in all of yours, and we'll make it in the document. But I wanted to make sure and have that squiggled out because it is less than 5,000. It's 1,670.
All right.
Thank you.
I move that we accept the contracts.
We have a motion by Dr. Turner. Do we have a second? Mr. Carter. All right, was there any further discussion on the contracts? Squiggle. What's squiggle?
It's like right here. I put the pencil mark, just kind of squiggled out the one.
Squiggle. That's a dollar sign.
Julie.
It was
and
Dr.
William.
Turner and then William.
See the little pencil mark next to the one? I just there was 2 ones there, and I marked through one. It's 16.
Oh, mine still says 11,000.
Oh, I missed that one then. Sorry about that.
I was going to say, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Mine's
Sorry about that.
looks like
No, I guess I
Mine
missed
says
hers.
11,000.
It's 1,670.
Let me see yours.
I know.
It's supposed to look like. Oh yeah, mine doesn't look like that.
Sorry
Okay.
about that, sir.
Looking all over for a squiggle. I'm like, man, oh my. Okay. All right, any further discussion on the two contracts? Can we have a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Okay, item 4D, purchase orders.
We're recommending the approval of purchase orders over 5,000 as presented in the agenda.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve purchase orders over 5,000?
So moved.
Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore second. Give you just a second to look over that. Is there a reason that line item 1 doesn't have the code number listed? It just says yes, it's required, but it doesn't have the ORC number.
I think they were not sure. It is required, something we have to do, but they couldn't find an ORC to link it to. So it is required by the state, but we couldn't find the actual ORC.
Okay. And we've got Walton capitalized, I see.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. I'll make sure.
The general audit tool.
All right, was there any discussion? Can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Okay, item 4E, approval of then and now certificates.
Recommending approval of the following then and now certificates.
Could we have a motion to approve the then and now certificates?
So moved.
Dr. Turner, do we have a second? Mr. Kilgore.
And I would like to make some notes about this. So why the purchases that are on here, we did have purchase orders in place. When the fiscal year ended, all purchase orders were canceled, okay? This has brought up an issue that we're gonna look at in our further contracts, because often a contract is on a calendar year, but they were canceled because of the fiscal year, which ends in June. So we did have contracts in place, we did have purchase orders, it was canceled, and then when their services continued, we then had to put the purchase order back in place. And I did mention that to Kim Richard last week at our meeting. So that's just something, as we consider contracts in the future, to have them end in June at the end of the fiscal year so that they don't roll over into our new year.
Okay. Was there any discussion on the then and now certificates? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
All right, that's the end of the treasurer's report. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. You did a great job.
Yes, great job.
Thank you. All right, moving on, Dr. Hawkins, report of the superintendent.
Thank you. The first item, this is an informational item. There were a number of change orders, and I wanted to note that where we say no cost out of contingency, that does not mean that it's free, but it's part of the contingency funds with the project. So the different change orders are listed there, and we still have money available in our contingency, so there was no additional cost to the district for that. So that was just informational. Item B is the approval of the financial recovery plan. And so I have several things that I'd like to go over with you. I'm just going to apologize in advance for the length of these items. So each of you have a binder that, go grab Jake a binder, please, that we have right here. And so as we go through this, this contains documents related to the financial recovery plan, And I wanted to go over a few things. You are not going to be voting on all of these items, but I felt like it was important to highlight them for you. So in October the 24th, we had a meeting with the commission. And at that meeting, we did not have everything approved. So as part of that process, we received a resolution with some extra things to do. So this binder has everything that the district received as an assignment. What I want to do as part of the process, would you also grab him a executive summary? They're on my desk. Sorry, Jake. So if you flip past the first page, which is the agenda, and she's going to get you this part, and it says Introduction to the Executive Summary. Is everybody with me? Page one, yes, thank you. I'm going to use this and actually go through this to review what is in your binder. So as an introduction, we wanted to prepare an executive summary so that this document could be shared at the state level with people who do have the power to make changes with our advancement, as far as stretching that out from 2 years to up to 10 years, or possibly turning it into a grant. So they don't know Mount Healthy. You know, they weren't here tonight to see the amazing things that happen at Mount Healthy. So I wanted to start off by giving them just kind of a quick snapshot of what we've been going through over the last year. So to start with, looking at our enrollment data, and this is based on the October report, we had 2,753 students attending pre-K through 12. Our enrollment does fluctuate. You know, from month to month, our enrollment may change, going up or down, normally by about 100 students, somewhere in there. We usually get an increase in September and an increase in January. And the January increase, you might be like, why January? A lot of students will go from one family to a different family. You know, maybe they've been living with mom and now they're living with dad. Sometimes people move over Christmas break. You have a couple weeks there that they can move to a new place. So our enrollment does fluctuate month to month in the district. We have 240 students that are open enrolled in our district at surrounding schools. 498 students are placed out. What does placed out mean? Placed out means that those students have needs that we just cannot meet in our buildings. And so we have to find other areas where they can get the services that they need. So that's what is meant by placed out. We have 140 students that choose to attend our career and technical school. Normally they attend Diamond Oaks or which is Great Oaks or Scarlet Oaks, and the Oaks are great partners to us. So that gives you just a little snapshot from the October report where students are at. So if you add it up, you know, we have many students in our district that are not physically in our buildings, and that's important to note. What about our journey? The journey that we have been on for a little over about a year and a half now, actually. So I noted in here in May 2023, the treasurer of 35 years retired. She was well respected in her field, and she even received a state award in April of 2023 for her excellence as a treasurer. Her last forecast was submitted in May of 2023, and I have included that in a snapshot below. So the last forecast that was submitted by our previous treasurer at that time showed that in 2023, which is the year that she was retiring, no problem. At the end of 2024, we still had a positive cash balance. However, in 2025, it did show that we would be in deficit spending by the end of that year. So this was submitted. The forecast showed that in year 3, we would be in deficit spending. When this forecast was reported to the Office of Accountability, we were contacted, and they told us that we needed to work with Kim Richard and Barb to make some reductions. And that's where they explained to us if we were making reductions right now, then those reductions would take care of our deficit 3 years from now. So they gave us a number of a little bit over 700,000 and said that we needed to make those reductions, and so we started working on that. We did eliminate several positions over the summer and came up with the number that would eliminate that deficit spending in year 3. In Ohio, if a school gives a 5-year forecast, as long as they are not deficit spending in 3 years, then the state does not intervene. So if we could be, showing deficit spending in year 4 and 5, but we would not have state intervention. The next page, page 2, shows the email that we received from Barb Markland saying that they had received the adjustments, and we had to fill out a workbook. We had to verify with board minutes that those positions had either not been replaced or not, or changed. And so we did receive this email on September the 8th. It said, "Thank you for submitting the required written plan to resolve deficits projected in Mount Healthy's May 31st 5-year forecast. The Ohio Department of Education has reviewed the written plan workbook and the accompanied narrative, and the submission is approved. The district's ability to foresee changes in financial position and respond to avoid future deficit is critical to eliminate the projected fiscal distress. To avoid the need to develop written plans and promote goals of obtaining and then maintaining long-term solvency, the department also recommends implementing the following best practices: proactively manage expenditures, implement board policies to raise that cash balance, report and discuss monthly comparisons, review the district budget." Just some good practices for us. If you have any questions, her information was listed. So in September, as a district, we felt that we had worked with the state. We had been very receptive to what they asked us to do, and we received this letter saying that we were good, at least for the next 3 years, but to proactively look at our finances. And we were doing that. We were talking about, as the ESSER funds were ending, raising class sizes. We always have a lot of people who leave each year. Every year we have, 50 to 100 people who leave our district for a variety of reasons. Closer to home, their student loans are now paid off, so it's not unusual. So we had started the process of talking about how we could continue to make adjustments and remain in that solvent position. I noted here as the 23-24 school year began, the district thought we were moving in a positive direction towards solvency. The district had been contacted that a performance audit would take place to help the district learn of other ways to reduce expenses to continue movement in a positive direction. We were very open to that and wanted to see how we could save money. We did ask for the audit to be delayed. Now, hindsight, they say is 20/20. The reason that we had asked for the audit to be delayed is that our board president, Carol Ellis, had just been diagnosed with terminal cancer. At that time, remember, we thought we were okay. We thought that we had resolved the deficit spending, and for 3 years, our forecast was positive. So Carol was diagnosed in August of 2023 and did die in October of 2023. So we had asked for a couple months because as part of the process, the board president plays a very important role in the process, and she physically was not able to do that. After Carol's passing, we notified the state, and they came down and started the process right away. The new treasurer that we had hired engaged Forecast 5 to help her write the November 5-year forecast for Mount Healthy City Schools. That would be the November 2023 forecast. Through this process, she discovered that the retiring treasurer had chosen not to utilize forecasting software for the creation of the November 2022 forecast. The new treasurer provided financial data from FY23 and FY24 to Forecast 5. So in years past, Forecast 5 had worked with the district. We would send them our monthly reconciliation that Jake mentioned a few minutes ago. They would put it into their software and it would track our spending. The last year that the treasurer was here during FY23, she had chosen not to send that information to Forecast 5, and they had not been part of the forecast. After the data was analyzed, the following November 2023 forecast was submitted. This was submitted by our new treasurer, and when she submitted that, it showed that it was very different than we expected. So the November 2022 forecast showed an ending balance of $2,679,953, that after all of our revenues, our expenses, everything went through, we still had a little over $2 million. The November 2023 forecast showed an ending balance of negative $5,062,643. So that's a swing of over $7 million. Okay, $7,742,596. We were surprised by this. Okay, we were not expecting it. I mentioned that we had worked in the summer to reduce expenses. We thought that we had resolved the negative balances. So not only were the balances not resolved for year 3, but we were facing a severe deficit in that current fiscal year. The new treasurer had never done a 5-year forecast. And so we actually contracted with a retired treasurer and asked them to redo the forecast so that we could make sure that that number of a negative $5 million was accurate. The district also contracted with Ryan Pendleton to audit grants that the district had received. We had received millions of dollars in grants. We became aware that many of those grants had been paid out of general fund instead of the grant funds. And so we had contracted with Ryan to audit our grants to try to see if we could recover some of the money that was causing the deficit. The second forecast is posted in the snapshot below. The amount that we were going to be deficit by the end of the year went from $5 million to $7.4 million. So it went in the wrong direction, the direction we did not want it to go. After receiving the second forecast showing that the deficit would be over $7 million in FY24, the Mount Healthy Board of Education passed a resolution stating that a plan could not be developed. Originally, they were asking us to develop a plan to resolve that $5 million by the end of the fiscal year, which would be June. The board passed the resolution, and they did ask the state of Ohio to move us into fiscal emergency. And when you do that, the auditors come down and they certify your funds. In March of 2023, a team of auditors did come and certified the most recent forecast to determine if we would qualify for solvency assistance. The auditors were great. They were very collaborative, and we worked together to get an accurate financial picture for the district. On April 15th, 2024, the State Controlling Board approved an emergency loan of $10.7 million. So November, a little bit over 5, January, February, 7.4. When the auditors came in, they found so many mistakes and discrepancies, it moved us to 10.7. And that was the amount that was needed in order to resolve that deficit.
Are all those dates
So we have March 2023, but then April
Oh,
2024.
you're right. That should be 2023. Thank you. The April 2020, that should be 2023. Thank you. I'll make that correction in the summary. The advance, anytime you get an advance, you're expected to pay that back in 2 years, so it would have to be paid back by FY26. And the Financial Planning and Supervision Commission was established, and it started meeting in May of 2024. Yes. So many dates. Okay. So that's kind of what got us to this point where we're considering the financial recovery plan. So when the commission started, they wrote a financial recovery plan for the district, and that was presented to us in draft form in June. It was officially approved in July. And as part of that plan, there were 15 actionable items that the district was required to complete. The Mount Healthy Board of Education hired Ryan Pendleton and Shared Services Alliance to guide the district in meeting the expectations of the plan. Ryan was named as district treasurer and served as district treasurer from the time that he joined us, June 21st, 2024, through September 30th, 2024. There's another date. I thought we had caught that one. So this is 2024. It should be March 2024, not, sorry about that. Should be March 2024. The April date is correct. So I'll make that change. As of October 1st, 2024, Bob Hancock, he was also with Shared Services Alliance, assumed the role of treasurer for our district, and Shared Services Alliance continued to work in the role of assistant treasurer for the district, and they also worked with the financial recovery workbook to get that where it needed to be. This partnership was expensive. It cost us $29,750 a month for their financial guidance. However, they were recommended to us by the state, and we were told that they had helped many districts go through this process. So the 15 actionable items that were in the financial recovery plan, number 2, are listed below. And I've just listed all 15 of the items here for your review. I'm not going to read all of those because they've been brought up many times in meetings. Under the guidance of Ryan Pendleton, he asked for an extension to complete the 15 items for Mount Healthy. Originally, these items were due by August, and Ryan asked for an extension. The reason for that was based on the need to look at new financial data that would be most accurate in September 2024. I don't know why I think we're in 25. So 2024. And, you know, I would agree with that. You know, a lot of our staff were reduced and contracts went through August. So we really didn't have that accurate payroll. Jake works with our payroll. We thought we knew what the numbers would be, but until that first actual check where we can see how things fall, it is important to have the most accurate data. So we did get that extension, and those reductions became evident in the payroll system. The district provided Shared Services Alliance documents to show the reductions. I want to thank Jake for all of his work on that. He and Shayna and other people really did a lot of work trying to get that most accurate information for that. Due to time constraints working with many districts, we found Ryan and Shared Services Alliance team preferred to work in isolation rather than in collaboration with district leadership. And Stephanie made note of that. They work for many districts. So the amount that we're paying them, we were not their only district. So that is, that is difficult. They're also physically located in the northern part of Ohio. And so it does become more challenging to work on day-to-day activities when you're not physically present day-to-day. Ryan and his team reviewed their work with the district, and they were supposed to present the overall plan and detail how the district, in partnership with Ryan and his team, had completed each of the 15 items in the FRP2. The plan was to be presented to the Board of Education on October 14th and to the Commission on October 24th. At the October 14th meeting, Ryan and Bob were physically present. When the time came to present the plan, Ryan refused to present. And so, because it needed to be presented to the board on that night, I, as superintendent, pulled up the plan that was developed for us by Shared Services Alliance and went over that plan. And just as reference, in the back of that document, I did include a copy of that plan that was pulled up that we reviewed that night. So the Board of Education approved the work. It had also been gone over in August as kind of this is the direction that we're going. And the work was related to completing the 15 items in FRP2. We did express, the board and myself, we did express some concerns after that October 14th meeting, because the next meeting, the commission meeting, we expected Shared Service Alliance to present their plan in its entirety. We were told that they would present in person, and there was supposed to be someone to do the transportation analysis at the meeting to explain that part of it as well. On October 24th, Ryan was in the meeting virtually, not physically. He did not inform the district in advance that he would not be present. The person who did the transportation analysis was not present in person or online. When the commission asked for the plan presentation, I asked for Ryan to present the plan. Kim Richards said that Ryan had told her that the superintendent would present the plan. She also said since the superintendent presented the plan to the Board of Education, that the superintendent was required to present the material then to the commission. The plan had been sent in advance to the commission. Superintendent went over the plan, answered questions about the plan for the commission. After the presentation, the commission went into executive session. Ryan was invited to participate in the executive session. No one from the district was invited to participate in the executive session. When the commission returned, they reported that they would approve 3 of the 15 items. Items 1, 6, and 12 were approved. A resolution was issued to the Board of Education and the superintendent for the failure to meet the expectation of the commission on the remaining items and gave instructions on next steps. The resolution is included in the back of the executive summary for your review. Ryan Pendleton and Shared Services Alliance were not included in the resolution from the commission. As part of the resolution, the superintendent and the Board of Education were directed to create a new rubric. The new rubric was on the entire financial recovery plan. The resolution from the commission is included at the end of this narrative, as I mentioned. The actionable items increased from 15 items to 54 items. And as you recall, we had a special work session where we went over all 54 of those items in detail. Kim Richard held a meeting with Superintendent and Bob Hancock on November 7th. At this meeting, she confirmed with the new rubric each item and the assignment for each item. And so I have included right below who was assigned which item. The assignments were to be completed no later than November the 18th, 2024. And so the items for FRP1 and FRP2 are listed below. In addition, Kim gave a new item to be included in FRP2, which is item 16, related to special education. And as part of item 16, she required that a special education audit take place. And I'll just read this one because it was new. The commission directs the district to obtain an outside entity to audit, evaluate the district's administration of special education services, to identify strength, opportunities for improvement, and potential cost savings. The report should include both short and long-term plans to cycle through existing student population, to reducing excess expenditure while maintaining adequate special education programs and complying with any maintenance of effort requirements. The district will identify the vendor, establish a timeline for completion, and present the vendor selection and timeline to the Board of Education and Commission in December 2024, with the goal that recommendations can be implemented for the 25-26 school year, or FY26. At the commission meeting on November the 21st, Kim Richard informed the superintendent and the Board of Education that when the rubric items were presented in December, that only the items in FRP2 would be presented. So I know this is very confusing, so started with 15 items, FRP2 for approval in October. When we did not get approval for all those items, the resolution said we had to do a rubric on all of the financial recovery plan. That took us from 15 items to 54. We completed work on our assignment. Some were assigned to the treasurer's office, some were assigned to us. The ones that were assigned to the district, we completed our work on that. It included a narrative and then supporting evidence to show that we had completed that. We had all of that completed. It was due on November the 18th. Ryan and Shared Service Alliance did not turn in any of their assignments. On November 21st, which was the last commission meeting, Kim came into my office right before the meeting and said that it was changing, that only FRP2, the original 15 plus 1, 16, would be presented, so that we could give the binder with the work to the board and the commission to show that we did the work, that it was understood by everyone, but that we would not be discussing in detail the 1 through 38 that were part of FRP 1. At the board meeting tonight, I'm going to go through our part on all of the items and ask for approval of those items. We had a meeting with Kim and talked about the items that were assigned to us. Some of the items, remember, were assigned to the treasurer. Some of those items, Kim then assigned to the district that had originally been part of the treasurer's group. That was items 8 and 10. She did say that items 9, 11, 13, and 15 would be completed when the next treasurer was hired. So as we get to those items, those are being put on hold for the next treasurer. The binder with completed items for FRP 1 and 2 was given to the Board of Education and will be given to the Commission on December the 19th. The items were reviewed with the Financial Committee on December the 5th for feedback before the meeting tonight. And as part of that feedback session, Kim Richard did suggest that I write this executive summary to comprehensively go over the information, and she said that would be shared at the state level for consideration for extending out our advancement. So let's look.
Really quick, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just looking for the resolutions and Mr. Pendleton's resignation at the end of the report, and I only see one resolution. Am I missing it?
Let me look.
I don't know what page. Here's page Well, it's hard for me to tell you what page because each section has its own page numbers.
Is just extras. So. This is not. Okay, so right here after.
Mine goes from this.
Do you see the shared services alliance presentation? I think that's it. So after the recommendation,
Then I have one.
you have the resolution. And you're right,
And then I
they're
have a
not there. We'll grab those. The printer was doing some weird things. So the first resolution, can you go print out the other four? We printed out. I don't know why they didn't show up here. So the first,
I know what, unless you were going to go over them anyway. You don't. Have to,
but I
know what
appreciate
they are.
that because we will make sure that they are in here because they were part of that. No, just can you bring me off my desk the one that's clipped, the one that was scanned, because the copier was being overworked today, so we do want to make sure that all four of those are in there. So after the plan, there should be the first thing is the plan that was shared with us by North Coast Shared Service Alliance, then the directive or the resolution to the board issued on October the 24th. I need the clipped one. Yeah, but no, I need. Okay. We'll make sure that those other resolutions are
I don't
in there.
need to go over them right now.
Right. You don't, but they were.
I was there for all of
yeah.
that.
We want to make sure that they are there so that when they are sent on to the state that they do have a copy of those. And then pass the resolutions, which I want to make sure that you see them tonight so that they can be sent on to the next level. So LaVonda will pull that. The next part should be familiar to you. That's what we did in our work session. So this is the rubric that had all 54 items, and that is what we went over in our work session. So it looks like, for whatever reason, the 4 resolutions are not in here, so we will make a copy, though, and give those because we want to make sure that you looked at them tonight so that they can be sent on. So look at, okay, can you make a copy of those 4 resolutions and give everybody one? Yes. Mm-hmm. The other item that's at the end of the resolutions that LaVonda will give you to put in your binder is the resignation letter that we received from Ryan and Shared Service Alliance. It was sent between 4 and 5 o'clock. It wasn't sent to me. It was sent to the Board of Education and said that they were resigning as of midnight that night. All right, so if everyone could look at reductions and revenue enhancements on, it's page 12 on back. The things, no, the other direction. The items that are past the conclusion are just supporting documents. So on page 12, this is where we started to really examine our reductions and our revenue enhancements. As part of all of the FRP2 items, looking at where we can save money was essential for us to eliminate the deficit. So we had a performance audit that we mentioned. As part of the performance audit, we were given recommendations. And those recommendations are listed on page 12 and 13. The first column shows what the performance audit recommendations were, and then the district's actions in the second column. So we did go through and, for instance, number 1 was to add fees for extracurricular activities. They said that schools that were compared to us generally took in about $15,000 in fees. we did start pay to participate, and that was so far as of 10/29/24, we have received $47,711.50 in pay to participate fees. So much more than the schools that we were compared to. Item 2 was to develop formal plans related to 5-year forecasting, budgeting, fleet maintenance, capital improvements. That is something that the treasurer's office was in the process of doing, and when we hire a new treasurer, that will be a priority. For the 5-year forecast, we are using Forecast 5 and their predictive software to help make sure that that is accurate. The third recommendation was to develop a formal budgeting process. Budget development will be completed by the new treasurer. There have been measures put in to make sure that the accounts have a certain balance, and the tracking of that as far as like getting to the level where you're going to the building and saying, okay, you have this amount of money for supplies. That is the next step that will be finished when our new treasurer is hired. Implementing forecasting best practices, Forecast 5 and Shared Service Alliance worked on that, and they did complete our November 5-year forecast, which was presented at the last board meeting. Number 5 was eliminating administrative and administrative support positions above the peer average. They initially said that we needed to eliminate 5.5 central office administrators and 5.5 building level administrators. And then in future years, they wanted us to eliminate 6 additional. So we had 11. The initial recommendation was for 11 with 6 more, so a total of 17. As of this year, we have eliminated 21 positions. And those are, I did put the comparison from the May CK report, which just shows who is hired, to the November report. In May, we had 16 building administrators. In November, we have 9. In May, we had 29 district level people. In November, 15. Okay. As another note, there will be the elimination of 1 additional position. Our chief advancement officer after this year will not be continuing with the district. So that will be another position that will be added to that total. Recommendation number 6 was to eliminate direct student education and support positions above the peer average. Can you put me one also so that I have exactly what they have? They said that we needed to eliminate 45 teachers immediately with an additional recommendation of 53 more teachers. We needed to eliminate a counselor. We needed to eliminate 3.5 tutor small group instructors, 12 of our substitute teachers, the dietitian or nutritionist, a nurse, 9.5 monitors, and 1.5 family and community liaison people. This shows our May CK report to the November CK report. In May, we had 198 teachers. In November, 115. In May, we had 65 intervention specialists. In November, 56. In May, we had 9 counselors. In November, 6. In May, we had 14 tutor small group people. In November, 6. Permanent subs, in May, we had 17. In November, 1. Dietitian, we did have 1, and that was paid by food service. I will note that that person did resign today, and so we are losing that position. For nurses, we had 3 coded in the May report, and in November, 1. Monitors, we had 21 in the May report, and in the November, 11. Family and community liaisons, we had 2.5 in May, and in November, 0. So as a note, 98 teachers were listed for a final reduction as of coming in January. We will have 98 teachers, 9 intervention specialists, and 5 small group were reduced to a total of 101. So all of intervention specialists, some of those are combined, but originally they said we had to show 98, and in January we will be at 101. And the dietitian that we mentioned will be resigning as of February 2025. They said that we needed to renegotiate our collective bargaining agreement. This will occur in the spring of 2025. They suggested we align classified salary schedules with our local peers. This will be examined as part of negotiations in the spring of 2025. As part of the contract, it did say that teachers had to pay 5% of their dental, and that deduction started in November of 2024. They recommended that we align employer insurance costs with SERB regional average. This will be examined as part of the spring negotiations in 2025. They suggested recommendation 11 to implement best practices for custodial contract provision and monitoring, and this will be decided in the spring of 2025. An analysis is part of FRP 1 document. If you wanted to look at that, item 1, we did look at the cost to bring that back in district. It does save a little bit of money, not a lot of money, a little over $20,000, but there is some savings there. Recommendation 12 was to renegotiate the custodial service contract. That will be looked at in the spring of 2025. 13 was to implement best practice for transportation, to look at that and monitoring. This will also be renegotiated in 2025. The contract with Peterman goes through 2027. And if you fall below a certain level, that contract does have to be renegotiated. And we'll speak about that a little bit more in a minute. So item 14 was the elimination of some bus routes. We did eliminate 2 routes for this school year. Item 15 was to develop formal internal policies and procedures related to transportation reporting. Peterman works with the Treasurer's Office to complete transportation reports. So we have, I feel, either met or we will be meeting that with negotiations, everything that was highlighted in the performance audit. Some key points. The district has received $47,711.50 to pay for participate revenues. As a note that I earlier, a total of 98 teachers were listed for final reduction. When we get to January 2025, that will be a total of 101. The dietitian will be resigning and no longer with the district after February 2025. The initial recommendation of 11 administrative staff for a total plus the 6 was 17. And once the chief advancement officer is eliminated, that will be 22. As of December 9th, 2024, there are 11 remaining items that the commission needs to be approved to complete the financial recovery plan. 1 through 3, 6, and 12 have been approved at previous meetings. Item 16 was added per Kim Richard after the October 24th meeting. So I want to go through the ones that we need still to get approved, and this is what you will be voting on tonight. Item 4, it says in June 2024, the board approved pay to participate fees for the FY25. The district should quantify the estimated revenue to participate, how much it will generate as a revenue enhancement in the FY24 FRP. It was originally due in August of 2024. The district has generated $47,711.50 in pay to participate revenue as of November 2024. At the October meeting, this item was not approved because it was not listed in the financial recovery workbook as revenue. So if you will take your binder, and if you look, remember originally we were doing FRP and FRP2, you will see FRP2 item 4. Over here, it's pretty far down because it's in FRP2. So if you flip to that area, you will see that we put some items related to this for your consideration if you want the evidence related to that item, so that you don't just have to take our word for it, that, you know, here is an email from Terrell Davis, and he is verifying the amount. It's all the way, like, keep going to FRP2, because there are things for FRP1, so it's near the back. Is everybody there? Okay. So the first is Mr. Davis is verifying the amount that I gave to you. And if you look on the back of that email, it does show the attachments that are the Excel spreadsheets and the budget documents. And in this document, which we'll talk about in a minute, there are shared drives for spreadsheets if you want to go and look at them. I also included the letter that was sent to our families, and it gives an overview of the pay to participate options. So that is just for your review so that you are aware of that amount has been verified with the treasurer's office. When, after the meeting, in subsequent meetings, it was determined that that amount would not be listed in the revenue section, but it would be listed under athletics. So originally we were told it wasn't in the workbook. That's why it couldn't be approved, because of revenue enhancements was not listed. Later, this is going to offset athletic cost, so it was determined that it did not need to be there and would remain as part of athletics. So why don't, as we go through these, I'd like for you to ask questions, you know, because this is what you will have to vote on at a later time. So questions related to number 4. Everybody good with that? Okay. So number 5, it says the commission directs the district to conduct an analysis of peer district school fees to determine if they are customary, what amount is being charged, the amount of outstanding school fees at school year end, and what policies are in place to mitigate unpaid fees. The commission herein requires the district to make a determination regarding school fees for all grade levels and to provide supporting documentation for said determination. How the fees were determined. If school fees are implemented, the district should quantify the revenue the fees will generate as revenue enhancement. So if you look at the section right past number 4, number 5, under FRP2, says FRP2 item 5. So we're looking right here? You can see that there is a survey. I want to thank Shayna for sending that out to her SWOPA groups. Thank you. It was sent out, and they did verify these are schools that have poverty students. None of them charge fees. We had provided Ohio Revised Code that specifies that we cannot charge fees. If you, sorry to keep making you flip, but if you look, you'll see this little red tab. It says narratives. We did write a summary. Oh, whatever tab. I don't know what color. It says FRP narratives. I did write a summary for each of the items. So if you look at number 5, or which one is this for?
5. We're on 5.
And you have to go to FRP2. Make sure you go to FRP2 because there are summaries for FRP1 when we thought that we would be presenting all of those. So at the end, it says FRP2 item 5, and it has a little red circle on it. Okay. Is everybody with me? So in this section, I did include the survey, but if you flip to the next page, it does have questions and answers about students being charged fees if they are on free and reduced lunch. And it does reference Ohio Revised Code saying that you cannot charge fees to students that are on free and reduced lunch. Okay. So the reason that the commission gave is for not passing that one was because they said that we had not done the survey, and we had not. You know, we had found that Ohio Revised Code said that we could not do it. Even if a survey result came back that said we could, we're not going to charge fees on something that is against the law. However, we did send out the survey, and we do have those survey results now to show that North College Hill, Cincinnati Public, and Middletown City, they do not charge fees for their students that are on free and reduced lunch. So are there any questions? Okay. All right, item 7. I am going to turn this over to Shayna. I'm going to tell you this was a big one. And if you look, it says under number 7 in the executive summary, you can see that link for a shared drive. We put the spreadsheets in this shared drive. So as long as you have the link, you can go in there, you can look at them. The commission also will have the opportunity to look at that. With this, so if you look at item 7, we had to develop an Excel workbook that fully documents all staffing, including staff contracted through another entity for FY24, the proposed staffing, including staff through FY25. The workbook will include a spreadsheet for each building in the district, including the Board of Education and Early Learning Center, and document the full cost of FY24 employment, including bonuses or pickup on the pickup for everyone that is being paid by the district. This also included vendors such as the ESC or janitorial contractor. Spreadsheet will identify the source of funding for each individual. If the general fund is the source, it will show the forecast line, which shows the cost of employment being reported. I just want to really thank Shayna. She has done so much work on this. Initially, you have to understand teacher contracts are for the year, but they cross 2 fiscal years. So Shayna had done so much work getting it based on the contract. Then we had to go back and change it for the fiscal year. And because of that, all those people that were dropping off of our books in August, she had to go back and enter an additional 200 people for the last fiscal year to show it based on fiscal year versus the contract. So I'm going to turn this over to Shayna to go through and explain for us.
Before I get started, I just want to talk a little bit. As Human Resource Coordinator, it's my job to both understand the financial aspect and the human aspect. So I want to reflect on the district staffing. This year we ripped approximately 100 staff, and then another 100 staff chose to resign. Why did they resign? mostly because they were afraid of the district closing and not getting paid. Many of you know that I've worked in a number of positions in the district since 2003. 9 years ago, I was lead teacher at South Elementary. There, I co-authored the Striving Readers Grant, followed by the CLSD grant. These grants brought in millions of dollars that allowed us to train our teachers in the science of reading. As the lead teacher, I got the opportunity to become a certified letters trainer and coach numerous young teachers. These teachers have become extremely gifted educators. As I moved into the role of principal, I was extremely proud of the hardworking staff as they were moving the majority of the ELC students from off track to on track using the skills they acquired from the science of reading training. This year, my new role, it was extremely difficult to watch the staff I love leave in droves. And while we acquire new staff, we no longer have the funding from the state to train the staff at the same level. I say all of this because I understand budgets and understand the need to make cuts, but we must do better and not use scare tactics that are causing our staff to leave, because ultimately, the students are the ones to lose out. So we know that when we look at this spreadsheet, what we're looking at is we're documenting the staff that have been riffed, the staff that have chose to resign, the staff that are currently here. We are using this spreadsheet to take a look, are there any additional cuts that can be made? Now, while there still are positions on here that are not required by ORC code. You heard Ms. Hall up here earlier this evening talking about severe mental health issues. Those positions, like our counselors, our social workers, while they're not required by ORC code, they are very much needed. When I tell you that our staff is working as hard as they can, they really are. We have so many staff that are at their breaking point and going above and beyond where they need to be. So I'm going to just take you on a walk of the spreadsheet. Yes, can you hear me now? All right, so there are two parts to each spreadsheet. The pink part is going to be for fiscal year 24, and the blue part is for fiscal year 25. You'll notice that there is a tab for each of our buildings, including the Board of Education and the ELC, as directed by the commission. So when you take a look at that, what you'll see is the first two columns are salary and benefit payout. So what that means is for any position where somebody resigned, you will see those payouts there. So for example, Brittany Dickerson had resigned for fiscal year 24. She had a salary payout and benefits payout, even though she wasn't here during the 23-24 school year. When you look at the staff, they are organized in the specific order that the commission required, from administrators to office staff. Other overhead staff, you will see support staff. You will see student-facing staff. And then you will see all of our classroom staff and our intervention staff. And way down at the bottom, you are going to find our purchase service staff. So these are staff that are at our ESCs or that we've had to acquire from an agency due to legal requirements. So as you move to the right, you'll find employee name. You'll find the salary. This is general funds. This includes any payouts that occurred in this column. So if it's here, you're also going to find it over here. So from there, then you have the non-general fund salaries. And then you're going to have general fund. This column again includes payouts. So essentially if you look here, here, and here, you're going to notice these all come from general funds, okay? If you look in F, H, and J, these are our non-general funds. It will have the funding source. A 1 means it's coming out of the general fund. A 6 means it's food service, which we know is grant funded. Let me go up so you can see some of those. And then anything with a 500, those are going to be grant funded positions, okay? That kind of gives a little overview on that. If they have a 1 as their funding source, you're going to find that on the forecast lines 3.010 and 3.020. The 3.010 is salaries, and that 3.020 is benefits. The commission asked us to have a student count. So what we did, and again, remember that this is from last year. These were our student counts in our elementary buildings. And they also required us to have average daily membership, which is basically a summary of the attendance on average for each teacher. They then asked to have an employment status, whether they remained, resigned, were riffed, or replaced. So everything that I just went over for fiscal year 24, if you keep moving, you're going to see this same information in the blue for fiscal year 25. So I just want to show you, because I know you saw those teen numbers for class sizes. You will now see that those are all in the 20s for general classroom sizes. And then down here, you're going to see intervention specialists. So there are different types of intervention specialists. So you're going to see a fraction. There are higher needs special ed student classes that can only have 8 students. So you're going to see that this person in particular is at their max capacity at 8 out of 8 students. So we wrote that in a fraction so that you could see. Your lower level needs of students on IEPs can have a maximum caseload of 16 at the elementaries, and then there is a specific group that can only have 12. So we put that in a fraction so that you could easily see what has occurred. Is there any questions about what you see on each of the spreadsheets? Okay, so from each of the spreadsheets, at the bottom, they are totaled up across all the categories. That information is then put together in this spreadsheet here. So we'll take a look at the pink side, the 24 side, and we'll take a look at the blue side, so, which is 25. I think 2 of the big things that you want to note, this number right here, this giant $46 million number, that is how much it fully costed us to staff the entire district last year. What that means is that is what was included from the general fund, from grant-funded positions, and from any purchased services. So if you take a look at these last 3 columns, for example, the ELC, employment was 2.4, full cost of employment 1.1, purchase service 876. When you total that up, you get that full cost of employment for each building. So when you look, the district last year cost $46 million to staff. Now, if you go all the way to the right on this column, this is what it's costing us now, $36,394,000. So overall, we've currently made approximately $10 million in cuts. So for the 2025 year, we talked about those forecast lines, 3.010 and 3.020. So what we have spending, our calculation is 21.3 million. What is currently forecasted is 21.7. So when they forecast, what they're doing is they are predicting essentially an educated guess based off of data that they have of what we will spend. With that being said, there's always some adjustments. For example, we've had a couple of teachers resign, so those calculations are gone, but they were used for the forecast. The same is true for benefits. We are looking to spend 7.3 based on our calculations, but it's forecasted to be 7.82. From speaking with the treasurer, though, our numbers are exact numbers. It's exactly adding up what each of our people have for benefits. When they actually forecast it, they use a percentage, and so there is a little bit of variation there. All right. Coming back over here, I do want to point out one area that we are very much still diligently working at. So we know this number right here is correct, this 46 million. Today, we came across a few things. We've been working very diligently for the last several weeks trying to get this done. And what we found is while we know this number is right, this number is off by about, what, 400,000, Jake? What we have found today is this number is correct because it's all the money that we've spent. For example, today we came across a staff member who the requisition was put in to be paid out of general funds, but then the purchase order was pushed out as, I'm sorry, I'm saying this backwards. The requisition was put in for a grant, a CLSD fund, but then it was pushed out for general funds to be paid. We've also come across a couple of staff members that were coded, say, as general funds, but then digging deeper, we're finding they were paid out of both general funds and grant funds at the same time. So once those adjustments are fixed, this number here should reconcile a little bit better. But upon digging, it's not uncommon for a forecast to not completely align with what is actually occurring. I just want to be fully transparent that we think we can make those numbers do it, but that is kind of what we're looking at right now is who is in general funds that should be in grants, who is in grants that should be in general, and most importantly, where we think the issue is staff that are paid out of two different funds. I need a lapel mic. Where's Michael at? We need to work on that. I'm not good at holding mics. What a new policy procedure in the treasurer's office is that we are not going to allow staff to be paid out of multiple funds anymore. It'll be much cleaner if staff are fully paid out of general or fully paid out of grant funds. Are there any questions regarding the spreadsheet? All of you do have access to this spreadsheet, so as we clean this last little bit up, you'll see that number there change. Everything else we do feel is done with due diligence, okay? All right, if there are no questions.
Do you guys have any questions? Okay. And Shannon, can you pull up while you're in the shared drive, item 8? Just, or if you want to just scroll down so that if could go to the shared drive so that they can see the different folders. Not the shared drive. Go to home and then see that there should be third over, yeah, right there. So I just wanted, when we get to these different parts, I'm going to have Shayna click on some of them so that we can say that you did look at each of these. So that we can say that you looked at each of these spreadsheets that we are going to examine in future ones. So item number 7, it did detail everything that Shayna mentioned that she did need to complete. If everybody could just take a minute, and does anybody have any questions on number 7 for her? Okay, great. So I thank you, Shayna, again for all of your hard work on that and for going through all of the different things in that with our board. So that was number 7. The next one, number 8, was, and just as a side note again, if you can't sleep and you want to go back and look at that spreadsheet, it is listed right here where you can go into the shared folder and look at those numbers. And you will be a viewer. You won't be able to manipulate it. So item 8, this, if you look up there, you can see it says FRP2, item 8, and it's listed 3 different places. You have purchase services. You have, those are the purchase orders right there. You have materials and supplies, which I think is the 3rd, and the first one is capital outlay. Those were 3 different items that were assigned to the treasurer to look at. So if you look at item 8 on page 17, it says the commission notes FY24 and 25 reductions to date are all staffing related. Accordingly, in hopes of identifying non-staffing reductions for FY25, the district should prepare a comprehensive analysis of the district's purchase services, capital outlay, and supplies and materials over the last 5 years, 2020 to 2024, and the proposed FY25 budget for each of these forecasted line items. Purchase service should be by type of cost, then by vendor, and then looking at monthly contractual obligations. So Shayna, can you go ahead and open that purchase service file? So if you look at the bottom, there are different tabs for the years that I did ask about, because the actual purchases for this one, only FY24 are listed for the actual purchases, and there are over 4,000 of them. I did ask because the other years were summaries, and Kim said that that was okay, that she worked with Bob to put this spreadsheet in this format. But along the bottom, you can see different codes. The codes are related to the type of purchase order that is involved. So the district went through and looked at a variety of purchases and made the determination if it was something that was required or if it was something that we would consider discretionary. Most of the purchase order items had already been examined and were included in the financial recovery plan, so there were not a lot of savings related to purchase orders. So if you'll turn to page 18 in your summary, Sheena, if you could please click on capital outlay. In capital outlay, under the 640 account, if you can click on that and then scroll all the way over to the edge, you can see where I have noted it says one-time purchase on several items. Last year we did have to replace our turf for our football field. that is listed here. That's not something we have to do every year. So that is something that we can say that we spent in the previous year that we will not have to spend in years going forward. So under capital outlay, we did find that there would be a savings in the 640 account of $269,100. So that's that amount of money that was spent on something that was a one-time purchase that would not be going further. If you can click open now, please, Shayna, the material and supplies. Thank you. So under material and supplies, if you go all the way to the end, are the tab ones, you will see summary of savings for the different numbers. The summary of savings in 511, 512, 516, 517, 519, 521, 531, and 542 are all listed here. We found a savings of $138,107. So the total amount that we found through the analysis of these three spreadsheets was $407,207. Those are charges that were charged the previous year that will not be charged this year, and therefore we should be able to have that amount as a savings to the district. Remember, purchase services had already been analyzed and reflected in the financial recovery plan. So even though we went through and we did examine those, they had already been accounted for in a different area, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't count them twice. So questions related to number 8. Okay. All right. Number 9, this one was assigned to the treasurer's office, and on the finance committee meeting on December 2nd and on December 5th, Kim Richards said that this would be completed by the new treasurer when we hired them. So number 9 is not something that you will be voting on tonight, but I did want to address that. Item 10 is authorization to spend. And this is related to that $5,000 limit. If you recall in Jake's report, we looked at charges above $5,000. The process has been established for any item over $5,000. At the October 24th meeting, the reason that this item was not approved was because they said there were still then and nows that were showing up on the board report. We still have then and nows. We had 2 tonight. However, I did make note that at the end of the fiscal year, all of those purchase orders were canceled, and so the PO had properly been put in place. It's just that it was for the calendar year, not the fiscal year. So I feel that we have done this, and we are adding those to the spreadsheet, and the board is reviewing them and voting on them each month. So does anyone have any questions on item number 10? Okay. Item 11, this was assigned to the treasurer's office, and Kim Richards said that that would be completed when the treasurer was hired. Item 13 as well falls under that category. It was assigned to the treasurer's office and will be completed at that time. Item 14, this is where at the October Board of I'm on page 20. This is where we were at the Board of Education meeting, and I presented the options for reconfiguration, and we looked at all different things with enrollment and different options. The Commission did ask for us just to put more information, and I have included that in the binder. In addition, we do have an organization that is looking to possibly rent the Early Learning Center. We are still waiting on an offer from them. We hope to have the offer by January 2025. When we receive the offer, then the board, I will bring that to the board, and the board will be able to make a decision at that time. If we accept that offer, the reconfiguration would be moving our pre-K and K back into North and South Elementary. So I mentioned that to Kim, and she said that until we have a decision on that, you know, that would be open, but I would ask you, you know, to approve this based on the actual rubric item said that we were to review the facilities in October 2024 so that it may be considered. It does not say in the actual rubric that a decision has to be made. It says that information has to be presented and that that information would be considered. So I feel like we have met that standard. Item 15 is the transportation analysis. This was assigned to Bob, and Ryan noted that in his summary. They did an analysis. The person who did the analysis was supposed to come and speak. They did not, but as part of their summary, they estimated that by moving to state minimums on busing, we would save 1.3 to 1.5 million. However, the district is under contract with Peterman, and if we fall below a certain level, we must renegotiate. So those final savings will only be quantified after the negotiations are completed, which will happen in the first quarter of 2025. Item 16 was something that was added. That is the special education audit. They directed us to use an outside entity. Dr. Wilson is going to, she led this and will give us an overview.
Thank you. So I did conduct research once this number 16 was added to the rubric to determine what organizations are even out there that do special education audits of the type that the commission was requesting. There are not very many. I found two who were for-profit companies and one not-for-profit companies. So in the narrative portion, you can see the three different companies that were identified. I met with each of them and explained what it was that we were looking for. Each organization prepared a quote. All three quotes are included in the appendix. So if you flip back to FRP2 item 16, all of the quotes are in there. So the first, American Educational Consultants, that quote is in there. It ranged from $34,600 at minimum, which would be for a fully virtual audit, basically desk review only, to $49,424, which would be an in-person audit where they would be here for 2.5 days talking to people and going into classrooms and looking at different things, and then the remainder of it would be virtual. Number two, American Institute for Research declined to give us a quote, and that's the nonprofit company that I mentioned. They did not feel that it was a doable timeline for them, and they also felt that the cost would be probably over $50,000, and so they declined to do a quote, but they provided an explanation of why in the appendix. And then the last was Schoolworks, and that again ranged from $31,600 for completely virtual audit to $37,200 for a similar kind of in-person and desk review, where they would be here for a couple days and then do the rest virtually and provide us their recommendations. So out of those three, Schoolworks would be our recommended vendor. However, given our financial situation and the constraints that we know we are under with MOE, maintenance of effort, we are currently recommending to hold off on this and not spend this money in this way. We had also met with Ohio Department of Education and some of their IDEA B specialists, and they did not see tremendous opportunities for savings in that area as well, and also voiced their concerns about MOE. So at this time, we've kind of done that research, but we're recommending to not move forward with that audit.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Any questions on number 16? Great. Okay. In conclusion, I have summarized some of this information I shared at our November meeting, but I'm just going to read through here really quickly so that we can make sure everything can be considered. Mount Healthy City School District's enrollment of 2750 has an enrollment of 2750, and it often fluctuates by 100 each month due to the transitory nature of our students. Mount Healthy has faced the following challenges. We have 28% special education students, 13.3 ELL, which is English language learner students. Last year we spent $1,184,923.37 on specialized transportation. That's not normal busing. Of that number, $932,401.24 was spent on transporting homeless students or students experiencing homelessness. $32,572.13 was spent in lieu of transportation for students that attend parochial/charter schools. $219,950 was spent on Medicare transportation for special education students. 30% of our students are in or have been in foster care at some point. We have 10 group homes located in the Mount Healthy City School District for foster students. Right now, 5.5% of our students are experiencing homelessness. That fluctuates greatly. 5.5%, I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Turner. Last year, that number rose up to around 30%, or what was that number? 30% more. Sorry, thank you. 100%, we are a 100% poverty district. Our last operating levy was passed in 2003. Even with our great challenges, Mount Healthy has had the following successes, plural. Graduation rate increased from 66% in 2020 to 86.2% in 2024. Bronze PBIS awards for the Early Learning Center and South Elementary in 2024. Through partnerships, a school-based health center and a food pantry were created. North and South Elementary have 4 stars in progress and 3 stars overall. Literacy in K through 3 increased from 10.7% in the 1920 school year to 30.1% in 23-24, giving a rate increase of 181%. In November, I shared an example with the Commission of equality versus equity. If every student received a pair of shoes, that would be equitable. Equity is taking the time to ensure the shoe fits and that the design matches the wearer's purpose. If school funding were simply based on equality, the state funding would allot a specific amount of money for each student. Ohio does not allot money in that way. The state recognizes that each student has unique needs that must be met, so funding should be based on equity instead of equality. This year, our staff have been working hard to adapt to the changes. We have not only lost staff, but opportunities for our students in honors courses and electives. These classes rarely have 25 in them at one time, so they have been lost because of the mandated 25-to-1 ratio. This rationale stresses equality, not equity. Our counselors do not have enough elective offerings to create schedules that are needed by our students. There are no longer enough electives to fill schedules for all 4 years. The students in our school are often significantly behind their peers. If these students are going to catch up and reach their full potential, our teachers must have the opportunity to differentiate with each student. That is equity. Unfortunately, this year our teachers have become classroom managers versus instructors for much of the day. Our administrators have become crisis teams instead of instructional leaders. Recently, a recommendation was passed to implement a salary freeze. Ohio has a teacher shortage. The loss of teachers to other districts because of this freeze will have a significant negative impact on the culture of our schools. Over 50% of our staff have less than 10 years of experience teaching and therefore have the flexibility to leave and join other districts. As Shayna highlighted tonight, other districts are thrilled to get our teachers because they are well trained. Consistency is essential to create a positive learning culture in any and is more important in a school where a significant number of students have experienced poverty or trauma. We must do what it takes to retain our staff that have chosen to stay and work to make the students at Mount Healthy successful. I would ask for our board and the commission to support the advancement from the state to be extended to 10 years as we try to find a balance between the reduced workforce and meeting the needs of each student equitably. We are working with Senator Blessing, Senator Ingram, and Representative Abrams to ask the state to convert the advancement to a grant for the district. Changing the terms of the advancement to a longer payback period would allow us to better meet the needs of our staff and students while we wait to see if this will become a reality. The cuts have been too severe for a school that is classified 100% poverty. We need to stop and re-examine our next step. We have reached out to partner with foundations in an effort to support the needs of our students. Solvency can be achieved without the destruction of our schools. And then I put thank you for consideration of how we can partner together to achieve both. In your supporting documents, I want to make sure that all of you have this. The first item is the overview from Shared Services Alliance. This is what was presented to the Board of Education on the 14th of October and to the Commission on the 24th of October. Does everyone have that in their binder? Thank you. Item number 2 is the resolution that was issued from the Commission to the Board of Education and the Superintendent on October 24th. It's resolution number 2024-66B. It should be right behind Ryan's presentation. Does everybody have that item? Thank you. The next 4 items are resolutions that were issued to Ryan Pendleton and Shared Service Alliance by the Mount Healthy Board of Education on 11/25/24. The first one is Resolution 295-2024. This highlights the need for us to work collaboratively, for them to share information with us before sharing it publicly. LaVonda handed those. Does everybody have that resolution? Thank you. The next resolution, 297-2024, this is about the rubric. And it went through all of the assignments. It shows the assignments that were given to Bob Hancock, our Shared Service Alliance, and the assignments that were given to the district. Does everyone have those? The ones on the resolution are just related to the Treasurer's Office because at that time, November 25th, we had not received anything from them in the completion of these items, and it was due on November the 18th. The third resolution, 299-2024. Does everyone have that one? That one is for Bob and Shared Service Alliance and is related to the processing of an invoice for their payment for their services. The fourth resolution is 301-2024, and it specifically is to Bob with Shared Service Alliances, Bob Hancock, related to not showing up for work and a board meeting. So do all the board members have those in your binder? Thank you. The next item is the email that was sent to Stephanie Anderson from Ryan Pendleton on the 26th of November saying that they were resigning effective midnight of that same day. So even though the draft of the contract had a 90-day provision for transition, they did not give us any notice at all. The last item is the work session rubric. The rubric was developed by the Board of Ed and Superintendent And we did have a work session, and this is the whole work session rubric that we went over. And I just wanted to make sure everyone does have that in their binder. Correct? So this will be passed on to binders with everything that I've mentioned here tonight, will be passed on to the commission on the 19th of December for consideration, and hopefully the items that you approve tonight will then be approved by the commission on the 19th. So tonight I am asking you to vote to approve item 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 14, and 16 as we discussed as part of the presentation.
Mr. Carter, do we have a second? Second. Mr. Turner, is there any discussion of the FRP to rubric items? Could you start that over, please? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Thank you. Promise the rest will go very quickly. Item C is for the acceptance of donations. We have a classroom that was part of Donors Choose, and the items, microphone, professional microphone, a stand, microphone shock mount, recording microphone, all of those items that were received as part of that are listed below.
Could we have a motion to approve those donations, the acceptance of those donations? Mr. Carter, do we have a second? Dr. Turner, any discussion? We do a roll call.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, we have 2 staff that would like to go on unpaid medical leave, and they are listed under item D. Their dates are also listed there.
We have a motion to approve the unpaid medical leave for those listed employees. So moved. Second. Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? We do a roll call?
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is to approve the following resignations that are listed. And we did note on the resignations, some of them will be replaced and some of them will not be replaced. And I do want to just make a special note. Bryce Blanton is on this list, and we are sad to see him go.
We have a motion to approve the resignations. So moved.
Second.
What's that, Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore? Any discussion on the resignations? We have a roll call.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes.
Thank you. Item F is to approve 21st Century Grant After School Program payments. These are compensation for people who are working with that program, and it will be paid for from funds with the 21st Century Grant. I just want to thank Kristen Yancey. She is here with us tonight. She has done a lot of work on this, giving extra opportunities for our students.
We have a motion to approve the 21st Century Grant After School Program. So moved. We had Turner and Kilgore already. Any discussion? We do a roll call.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes.
Thank you. Item G is to approve supplemental positions. The supplemental positions are listed in the following spreadsheet.
We have a motion to approve the supplemental positions. So moved. Dr. Turner, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Kilgore? Is there any discussion?
notice most of these are grant funded.
Not on the supplemental. That's 21st century.
No, you're behind us. We've already went past this.
Going. These, we did reduce the supplementals by 109,000 this year. So we are paying less than we did last year. But this is some of the pay to participate money is going to offset these supplementals. We are trying to work to approve them earlier. Most of these are winter sports, and so we're working to make sure that they get approved before the season starts. They,
The cost is it says is the cost included in the budget, and it's not because it's not approved.
right,
Is that right?
exactly. Once it's approved, we'll put it in that workbook.
And then we're on the last column, the ones that say same as fiscal year 24.
Mhm.
That just means that they're the same cost. As
Yes.
and that's why it's not.
Yes.
Okay. Was there any other discussion on the supplemental positions? Could we do a roll call?
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is to approve classified personnel that are listed in the spreadsheet.
Could we have a motion to approve the classified personnel?
So moved.
Mr. Carter, second? Second. Dr. Turner. I will say, I don't know if this is gonna be an issue or not, but the last column is cut off on ours.
Oh.
Maybe just make sure on the.
Okay. Like,
on the-
does, you don't see like sub need coverage?
Like,
This is if, res, will.
Okay.
it only makes it like the reinstate word.
Oh, got you. I see what you're talking about. Thank you. We'll make sure that that.
I just
so,
don't want that to be an issue later.
Yes. Yep. Thank you. We'll
Was there
make
any
sure.
discussion on this? We have a motion, or I'm sorry, a roll call to approve the classified personnel.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. Item I is to approve certified personnel, and there are a few people listed here. These are for building subs that were approved previously. And just a note that we have noted that they would be working 4 days a week, not to exceed 28 hours.
We have a motion to approve the certified personnel. So moved.
Second.
Dr. Turner and Mr. Carter. Is there any discussion? Could we do a roll call, please?
Ms. Anderson?
Oh wait, Ms. Bryant has questions.
They do not get benefits.
Medicare and retirement.
That's just required by law. They don't get like insurance or anything. Good question. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Item J is to make a couple changes in the 24-25 calendar. So, I don't know if you want me to explain before the discussion, or did you want to?
We can go ahead and make a motion, and then we can, can we make a motion to approve changes in the 2024-25 calendar? So moved. Dr. Turner and Mr. Carter. Okay.
So, our teachers have been internaling. That's when you have to cover classes, and they are very behind in planning for their students. And so we've looked at a variety of ways to compensate for this. The calendar committee met again. They surveyed. We got feedback from the buildings. And what came back is on these days, 4 days after January till the end of the year, we will not have students in the building, and this will give us time to do the professional development that's needed. And I want to say, you know, this doesn't come close to compensating our teachers for the time that they need. But we are gearing up to finish the year, and I just have to thank our teachers for continuing to work very hard for our students, trying to get them ready for the testing that will occur in the spring. And so I feel like it's very important for them to have these days.
Was there any discussion about the changes on the calendar? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes.
Thank you. Item K is to approve hiring a district information officer. I want to be clear that this is the position, not a person, and I'll discuss that more after the motion.
Okay. All right. Mr. Carter and Mr. Kilgore moved to approve hiring a district information officer.
So this would be replacing Bryce Blanton. Bryce not only did our public relations work, he also managed our website and was very important in issuing messages to our community and drafting letters when, for instance, we had an emergency situation in our district. So we would like to get approval to replace his position before we actually interview. We didn't want to go through the interview process if there is a chance that it will not be approved by the commission. So we are asking for the board to approve the replacement position of what Bryce did. And then if the commission also supports that, then we will go through the hiring process and interview.
Is there any discussion?
Just a question. I don't want to make it sound like Bryce doesn't want to work hard. He does. Is there any chance that this could be, if the commission says no, is it possible that this could be a part-time commission or a part-time position that maybe we could get approval on?
I think you would have to change it. So we did look at some quotes, for instance, on maintaining our website. Just that was more than what we paid Bryce. So I don't see how it could be a part-time position. We could divide and say a part-time public relations. I think we could do that just for the public relations, but the maintenance of the website could be shifted to technology, but that's going to increase our technology amount.
Yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes.
Thank you, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. All right, was there any open discussion requests by the board? None. At this time, we are going to enter into an executive session, I believe. Oh, but we don't.
It's here.
Oh.
Number 7.
Oh, I see it.
That doesn't have the reason.
It doesn't have the reason.
What's the approved? Oh.
Oh, this is to approve like the public hearing for the budget. You approve those things first. Right.
So this is not the executive session yet, because there's also a place for the executive session further on the next page.
So-
Okay.
Okay.
So we are not moving into executive session
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve the date and time for public hearing on the budget.
That's for the organizational meeting for next year, which would be the 13th. We always have to do that in January.
Right, this is right here, January 13th at 5:30 for the organizational meeting. Are you lost?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Kim made the motion.
Oh, Ms. Bryant, can we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Turner? Okay, was there any discussion? Should we do a roll call?
Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Can we have a motion to approve the date and time for the organizational meeting and the regular meeting for January, which would be January 13th at 6 p.m.
So moved.
Dr. Turner. Mr. Kilgore, was there any discussion? Could we do a roll call?
Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yep. Ms. Bryant?
Now we need to make a motion to approve someone to act as the temporary chairperson for the organizational meeting in January. The temporary chairperson?
Because you'll vote officially that night on who will be president, vice president.
So it's just who opens the meeting and gets.
I mean, I'll just nominate myself to open it as usual, and then we can change from there. So we'll just could we do a motion to approve myself as the temporary chairperson?
So moved.
Dr. Turner, Mr. Kilgore, any discussion? Could we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes.
All right, now we are going to enter into an executive session. It is 8:48 p.m. Could we have a motion? Mr. Carter, do we have a second?
Second.
And this will be to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. Was there any discussion? We do a roll call.
Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yep.
All right, we're in executive session. I honestly, there may be, there may not be. That's one of the things that we'll be discussing during this. So there is a chance, but there is not a promise.
Oh, okay.
What did he say?
It's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can we have a motion to add the backup, what is it,
It's
I've already
a
lost it.
motion to add the curriculum replacement practices to the approval of item 8 under FRP 2.
Thank you. I would have never got all that out. Could we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore, I think. Was there any discussion on that?
Jana just needs to.
Sure.
I'll just highlight a few things. So our replacement practices are based on board policy.
This is just to amend the agenda.
Right. Oh. Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore. And then we can do a roll call to amend the agenda.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Yes. Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Carter? Yes.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve item 8? Now I've already forgotten everything you just said. Item 8C, but
8C, which is FRP 2, item 8. This is 8C, specific to curriculum replacement practices.
replacement practices. Can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Dr. Turner and Mr. Kilgore. Jana, go ahead.
So basically, board policy says that you have to continuously review curriculum. And so right now, our current practices, what we've been doing for many, many years, is reviewing it about every 6 years. So we review it, we decide whether we want to continue with that curriculum or pilot a new curriculum. Some things that have really changed is that the state of Ohio is pushing high quality instructional materials. You have to have that for ELA. It's moving that way for all the subjects. And curriculum now includes online components. So years ago, you could buy a textbook. If it was out of date, I mean, I taught from the same social studies textbook here for like 15 years. But now with the online, you lose your digital access. So after 6 years, you either have to buy that again or replace it. And so our practice, like I said, has been to review every 6 years. And then typically we buy 6 years ahead. So we don't buy curriculum a year at a time. And that solves two things. For one, you get a highly discounted price if you buy it 6 years at one time. And then also, you're only paying for one curriculum per year. Whereas if you just buy for a year, you might be paying for social studies, science, ELA, and math all in that same year. So that's just kind of what our practices have been. If you see there's an abbreviated chart there that just kind of gives you an idea of where we are. The full chart is back behind it of just, we have replaced ELA, which is always the biggest expense, in 21, 22, so that's not due up for a while. Same with math. We are going to have a problem with junior high because during COVID, they couldn't pilot. So the following year, they bought both math and ELA in the same year, which was super expensive. So we're going to have to try and extend one of those. The other thing that where we are right now is that social studies has been placed on hold. So right now, the elementary schools do not have a social studies curriculum. The teachers are just not making it up, but taking the standards, pulling and making their own resources so it's not high quality like it should be. So that is, if we only buy a year of it, it's $26,000. So that's all in here. Okay? Any questions?
Is there any discussion regarding item 8? Okay. Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Ms. Bryant? Mr. Carter?
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve adding to the agenda the approval of a new treasurer. The motion.
So moved.
Turner? Did you second first? Ms. Bryant was the second. Was there any discussion on adding that to the agenda? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Okay, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve Mr. Chuck Soul to be Mount Healthy's new treasurer. And that would be contingent on the commission's approval. Lavonda, if you could please make sure that that language is in the agenda, that Chuck Soul is approved by the board contingent on the commission's approval on December 19th. We would like to offer him the contract to become Mount Healthy's new district treasurer.
And that treasure will be sent to the commission as part of
The contract, yeah.
As part, so Lavonda, you can note that the contract will be part of it.
Yes.
Is there an effective date?
Well, let's make a motion first to approve it. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Turner, Mr. Kilgore. The effective date would be December 19th. The effective date that he would become our treasurer of record, though there may be some conversation in there regarding what date he will report into the building because of the commission's.
Because the 19th is when they would vote on it.
Well, but that would be the end of the day, the 19th.
But that, with Jake, they made it that day.
Okay.
It was effective that day of the commission meeting because I went into OEDS and made him.
Yeah, it would be effective, so technically it may be effective that evening, but it would be the 19th, right? But his first in-person, in-building day it would be to be determined based on when the commission approves, if the commission approves, and when he can work it out with his current employer. So, was there any other discussion that you guys wanted to have on the contract or on the position itself before we do a roll call?
Can you just note for the last time with Jake, they just wanted it noted that the contract was discussed in detail and, right, but you spent time in executive session discussing that.
Mr. Soul and all of us on the board did just spend some time in executive session reading through the contract, agreeing upon the terms, the amounts, the dates. So the contract has been discussed by all parties. The contract has already been signed by all parties. The contract is now just contingent on the approval of the commission.
So moved.
I think we did the, I
We
think
that.
we did that part.
We did that.
Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Welcome back, Mr. Soul. We're very glad to have you back. Okay, I've lost my, I have so
I
many
move
people.
we adjourn.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Turner moves we adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Carter, roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore? Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Carter was second, Turner was first.
He's waiting on you. Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
All right, we adjourn at 9:44.
Are we going to get something
So
to eat?
I texted